Hey everyone, how's it going? Five Finger Shuffle. We are back here with another video, and today what I want to do is talk about the top five Earth units. So I was going to start with Fire and move my way across, but with the specialty change to Hazel coming this week, and potentially the release of a new banner that could potentially be Water next week as well, I figured we would start with Earth. We did just get a new champion in Violet. So keep in mind that this is purely my opinion. You may not agree with it, and if you don't, that's great, actually. I want you to either feel strongly for it or against it. Just try and comment down in the comment section down below with your opinion and your reason why, and maybe we can start a conversation about it. And who knows, maybe you'll end up changing my mind. We're using my baby account here because I'm literally grinding on my main account as we speak. So let's start off with the honorable mentions. There are a few units who didn't make the list. I almost debated making this a top 10 list, but there's so many units that I like, yet there's so few units, especially in Earth, that I was like, well, if we go top 10, we're basically including everybody. So I didn't do that. We limited it down. So the units that just barely missed are Curious, who has a ton of utility, um, great unit, just not quite top 5 material. I was borderline for top 10 as well. Ruzid is another one. Rin, Leo, Sid, Armin, Silk, all good units. Um, but let's just jump into the top 5. No, number 5 on the list is going to be Destina. So Destina, one of the top 3 healers in the game, arguably. Part of me wanted to put Lots over her, uh, but I just you can't deny how strong she is. Her first skill attacks the enemy with staff and heals the ally with the lowest health. Healing increases proportional to target's max health. Second skill blesses an ally recovering their health and increases their combat readiness by 30%. Healing increases proportional to caster's max health and grants all allies the blessing of a Spirit Lord, dispelling all buffs and recovering health. If the ally is debuffed, their combat readiness will also be increased by 15% per debuff. Effect can only be applied up to 4 times. Healing increases proportional to caster's max health. So this skill is what makes her so incredibly strong. It is on a 6-turn cooldown, and it can only be reduced down to 5 turns, which is the reason why she's not higher on the list. But this skill, if you've ever faced her in arena, can be incredibly annoying. There's very few cleanses in this game, so that just makes her automatically into the top 5 because of her cleanse, and that combat readiness buff as well is crazy strong. So she comes in at number 5. At number 4 on the list, one of my favorite units in the entire game is Euphine. I may be a little bit biased here, but I think she's so much fun, and I think she's so good. Let's take a look at her kit. Defense break on her first skill. It is only a 35% chance. It can be upgraded to 50% if you want to invest into her that much. I personally haven't, at least not yet. But the defense break on first skill is always strong. Then the AoE silence that also will strip one buff at the same time. So dispelling one buff from all enemies with 40% chance to silence for 1 turn before granting increased attack and speed to the caster for 2 turns. I tend to not use this skill that much because she's a damage dealer and it doesn't do great damage, but AoE silence at a 40% rate, and if you skill it up, can be up to 50% rate, plus a self speed buff and self attack buff. It's just it's a nice skill to use in between, especially if you already have a defense break on the target and your ultimate isn't ready yet. I really like this skill. And finally, her what makes her crazy strong hits the enemy with a finishing blow, stunning for 1 turn and dispelling all buffs. Damage dealt is increased by 50% if the enemy is buffed. So she has speed buff, attack buff of herself, and then she can come into this skill and strip stun and it's also crazy strong. It hits really, really hard. And if you burn into it, you can also grant yourself an extra turn. So if you're worried about potentially not killing with it, you can just burn some souls into it, and not only can you do that skill, but then you can burn into either your AoE silence again, or you can burn into your defense break on your first skill. Either way, you'll probably end up getting the kill because she already hits quite hard. Also, she's a warrior, so that makes her a little tankier. I personally have her on a lifesteal set, and with her third skill, she can just heal to full with lifesteal, so it's really nice. All right, number 3 on the list, venturing away from the Nat 5s, is Falconer Clury. I wasn't sure where to put her on this list because she's kind of unique. She does have a specialty change if you didn't already know. When you summon her, you summon Clury, and then you have to go through the process of a specialty unlocking her specialty change, which makes her Falconer Clury, and then you have to go into her skill tree. I'm not sure if you can see it from here. No. Let's get out of there. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Awaken? All right. So you can't see it, but there is a whole skill tree after you unlock her specialty change, and you go through there, and it gives her a whole bunch of extra skills. So I'm not going to go too in depth as to all the things she does because it's a lot crazier than it looks like. Unless we can see it here, but I don't think so. No, this is just the stats. Um, but she has a combat readiness increase on her first skill. She has a provoke, strip, and defense break with her ultimate. She also has a passive heal. Um, she's also a tank. You can run her on the Aureus artifact, which will help absorb damage for everybody else on your team. You name it, this girl does it. That strip, defense break, provoke is really, really nice. She's just all around a great support. If you're looking for a support unit, she's potentially the best support unit in the game. All right. Keep in mind though, she is a lot of work. So don't forget that. If you are trying to build her, you can't just summon her and build her right away. You still need to invest a lot of time and a lot of energy into her. All right, number 2 on the list, actually have on my baby account here, is Izaria, another one of my favorite units. Now, she's always really strong, but she's particularly strong if she's paired with certain units. So let's go over her kit. First skill, 35% chance to defense break. Again, this can be skilled up and you can get it up to 50%. 50% is great, 35% not so much. But still having a defense break on that first turn is really nice. Same as with Yufine. Um, the second skill, this is what makes her very unique. Reset skill cooldowns of an ally except for the caster with light energy. Grants an extra turn after using this skill. So it is a 6-turn cooldown, but you can reduce it down to 5 turns. The ability to be able to reset another unit's cooldowns is so strong. I've been using her on a speed build with crit rate and attack, and I paired her with Doris on this account. I think on my main account, I would probably pair her with someone like Angelica, um, who you're basically someone who you're always trying to get up. Say, in Angelica's case, you're trying to get up immunity, or in Doris's case, you're trying to get up defense buff. Um, someone that maybe has long cooldowns that you constantly want them to be doing that skill over and over and over if you could. Especially because you can't run 2 of the same unit in this game, so I couldn't run double Doris comp, or I couldn't run a double Angelica comp. What you can do is you can run Angelica Izaria. You could do you could use Angelica to do her 2-turn immunity and shield. Then next turn, Izaria goes, resets Angelica again, and then you could burn into 4-turn immunity from Angelica, And then you could wait all the way back around until Angelica's immunity was ready again, and then go back to 2 turn, burnt into 4 turn, and you could just keep it cycled, and you could basically have infinite immunity. And there's nothing, unless the other team has a strip, you could have non-stop immunity. Same thing with Doris and her defense buff. That's what's got me through most of the content in this game on my baby account is Doris Izaria combination, just constantly having continuous heals and defense buff up. And if you have 2 continuous heals rolling at the same time, it's basically a full heal every single turn. It's pretty crazy. Um, I believe I'm on Abyss 59 on my baby account, and I've been playing this account for less than a month. So, and as you can see, I don't have much in terms of units. I've only got one 4-star unit from Earth. So it's not like I've spent $0 on this account, and I'm just been those two have carried me through pretty much everything to this point. And the number one unit that I have decided, again, you guys might not agree with me. I'm curious to see if you do agree with me, but in my opinion, the top unit for the entire Earth class is Belena. I have her on my main account. I still haven't 6-starred her yet, but she's just so strong. She's being used everywhere from raid to arena. That's arena offense and arena defense. She's been using in dungeons for multiple reasons. So let's take a look at her kit. Her first skill does damage based on the enemy's max HP. So at first glance, this doesn't look crazy, but let me tell you, this skill does insane damage. I was running her, I was leveling her up. She was at level 40, 5-star level 40, leveling her up, and she was doing more damage with her first skill than some of my level 60s were with their third skills. Just because I was running it on, I think I was running it on the nature boss or on the earth boss, trying to farm runes for my Falconer Clury, and it was just ridiculous. She was doing so much damage with her first skill, and she had just like trash gear on her, and that's when I was like, okay, we gotta make sure we pay attention to how we build this girl because she's crazy, crazy strong. And that's not the best of her abilities. But if you bring her into raid or if you bring her into bosses, she's going to chunk down the boss really, really fast because of how much damage that does. So her second skill attacks all enemies by waving a fan. Damage dealt increases with more enemies, grants the caster immunity for 1 turn after attacking. So this skill doesn't really do all that much. It's not hard damage, but it is only on a 3-turn cooldown, and it gives her immunity for a turn, so it does sort of help her stay alive. If you're running into bosses, you're probably going to want a first skill with this, or a first skill instead of using this, but in certain realms, like maybe in raid, you want to put up immunity just to make sure she doesn't get her skills reset or something on the next turn. Um, because her next skill is kind of what makes her OP in PvP. Is she has an AoE defense break. So attacks all enemies, creating a powerful gust of wind with a 65% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. Effect chance increases by 20% when Razor Wind Fan is triggered by Windbreak Fan. It's all sounds very complicated, but basically she can acquire souls. So she acquires 1 soul, acquires 2 souls. Then once once she acquires, I forget what it is. Isn't it 5? Doesn't doesn't say it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So when focus is more than 5, loses all focus and activates her third skill. So she can proc skill 1 into skill 3 automatically, and she can always do her third skill. So yeah, it's on a 6-turn cooldown, which sucks, but you can reduce it to 5. So she could use her third skill and defense break, and this also acquires 3 focus as well. So not, sorry, not souls. I was saying souls. So she acquires 3 focus with this skill. one focus with this skill and one focus with this skill. Once she acquires 5, she will automatically do her defense break again. So technically, she could do this third skill back-to-back turns, depending on how many focus she has gathered up. Which just like when you're procking into it, especially on arena defense or arena offense, it can just make all the difference. I've fought a couple of these girls that were crazy fast. She would defense break first turn, which gives her 3 focus. And then second turn, she would use her AoE again, doing more damage into the defense break. And then third turn, so now she's got 3 focus from the skill. She's got 1 focus from the skill, which is 4. And then her third turn comes, and she uses her first skill, which gives her now 5 focus, which means she automatically procs back into her defense break again, and you've got another 2-turn defense break. And it doesn't reset the cooldown counter on this, I don't think. So basically, you can have infinite AoE defense break. The only downfall is it's only 65%. It can be skilled up to 80%, and when it's triggered by the first skill, it actually goes up 20%. So it's a 100% chance when it's triggered, when it's upgraded and triggered by the first skill. So I mean, just having AoE defense break on everybody is going to increase the speed of all your runs. It's going to help you on offense. It's going to help you everywhere. She's crazy, crazy strong, and she's good everywhere for different reasons. So if you have her, make sure you build her. She is number 1 on the list. I'm super curious to see what you guys think of this list. I hope you guys like it. If not, try and keep your your feedback productive. And we will be coming out soon with both the fire and the ice versions of this list. I hope you enjoyed the video. I can't wait to read your comments. Have a great day, and we will see you all soon with another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.